I mean, a lot of these organizations are predominantly, giving people hope as well, and a little bit of, particularly when you're dealing with mental health and some various other things, it's the first opportunity. Adult education has suffered really with, and it's an important aspect of it. It's lifelong learning in its sense.
It is. And one thing which I would ask of any government, perhaps the new government that's just come in, is I know governments tend to be focused at the moment on the direct travel into employment, but sometimes you've got to take a slightly wider view, and you've got to look at what you need to do to enable people to take the first steps before they can go into employment. We often talk to students directly as board members. One of the things that always struck me, it's a vivid memory in my mind, is a lady, an adult, who wasn't in employment. The reason why she wasn't in employment was because her teeth were in a mess. So the first thing that needed to happen to her is that she needed to get to a point where her teeth could be sorted, so then she could talk and communicate. Then she could go through, say, an English course, and then she could go on to something else and something else. And eventually she would go into a job. But you need to recognize that person, and she's by no means alone, had a long journey to take before she could finally move into employment. And sometimes governments need to recognize that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're talking about progressions and so forth, there has to be the first step, the first step on that ladder. And that first step on the ladder doesn't necessarily mean it's a job outcome. The progression is, them achieving the qualification, they're, being in a better state mentally, and being able to sort of come out and, motivation and all those sort of skills. So it's a very, very important area, but often overlooked at times,
and I agree.
Not given the priority that it really needs. So you've got your adult community learning, you've got another college, Accrington Rossendale, which, as you said, it was more of an acquisition of than a merger of two.
It was really,
of an equal.
I think they called it technically a merger, but in actual fact, it was an acquisition.
It's a smaller organisation, but again, it's been there many years. So what would the culture of these two sort of for these two organisations coming in to Nelson, how is that? Because one of them has been sort of left to its own devices to a certain level, the adult community learning, but the college, I would say, has been more integrated in terms of.
I think in truth the culture of Accrington and Rossendale College before it was acquired by Nelson and Cone College wasn't too dissimilar to Nelson and Cone College. It's just that Nelson and Cone College perhaps had been much better managed. So the people at Accrington and Rossendale, they wanted to do the right thing. And in fact, some of the quality was okay. It just needed the way of working of Nelson and Cone College to be wrapped around Accrington and Rossendale College to make it much more efficient, really. And it had been shrinking year on year on year, and that had to be reversed, and we needed to start to get growth back. Now, all this takes a long time, as you can imagine. It's like turning a big heavy ship that's going in the wrong direction, trying to turn it around and steer it in the right direction. But we're doing that. So we've been working really hard for several years now, and we've got to the point where we know what the college is doing. It's focusing largely on vocational education and training, and it's starting to do much better. The staff there are brilliant. They're working really hard. Results are massively improving. And it's all moving in the right direction. So it's been hard work. You might say, why did we do it? Really, because, why did we do it? It was just the right thing to do. It needed helping. It was a good college, but it needed helping, so we helped it. But it was a lot of work and a lot of risk, actually.
Canny Conversation Podcast Series 5 by Safaraz Ali.